Welcome to Life Expressions. I'm your host, Charie Ginete-Ilon. Today, we're joined by an educator, coach, and consultant in marketing management. She's moving people, ideas, sales, and firms towards strategy. No less than the Associate Dean of Commerce and Business Administration at Douglas College, Ms. Shannon Cox. Hi, Shannon. Welcome to Life Expressions.
Oh, good morning, Charie. Good morning. Hello. And thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
And I'm so thrilled to have you here with me on the podcast. When I started Life Expressions 4 years ago, I thought to myself, one day I'm going to interview Shannon Cox. And here we are today. Yay! And so for you guys, we will explore Shannon's inspiring leadership journey, the impact of digital transformation and marketing, and how education is evolving to keep up. We'll also dive into building brand trust and what it takes to lead with authenticity and purpose. And of course, from her role to mentorship of empowering women in business. So this conversation is packed with insights, inspiration, and real-world wisdom. So you better stay tuned here on Life Expressions. Shannon, can you share your journey to becoming the Associate Dean of Commerce and Business Administration at Douglas College?
Well, thank you. I would love to. I will say that I actually had a lot of retail positions when I was young and trying to make money, working a couple of them at a time to put myself through school. And you might say, what's that got to do with being the Associate Dean? And here's the connection. In being in those positions and working, that customer-facing role, problems happen. People had products they loved. People had products they didn't like. There's things that happened that worked really well. There's some things that maybe sometimes weren't the best. And it struck me that I was standing there having the conversations with the key person, the buyer. And yet I wasn't in the position of making decisions. There was other people making those decisions, and some of them understood those customers because they had been there themselves, and some hadn't. And that drove me to stand back and look and go, wow, how does this whole system work? Right? And the whole idea of systems thinking. And I have always remained appreciative of that experience because it taught me to make sure that you stay connected and how important those conversations are, no matter where you are in an organization. So the store managers or the head office folks who would come and would walk around and would have conversations with staff, with customers, they had a much different perspective. And I think building those relationships are key to success. So I've always been a teacher. I love teaching. I love connecting people and ideas. I love bringing out the leader, that leadership side to everyone. When they find out that they are the smartest person in the room on that topic, on that subject, it just creates an inspiration for them and for everyone around them. And I love that discovery journey. And so for me in teaching and even in consulting, I've always gone after that same method. So we're talking about ideas and people and conversations. Love the conversations. And with teaching at Douglas College, I had so many opportunities to bring people together, have to watch the students excel in different types of learning environments. And I loved building those programs that let them do that. I'm hoping in this new role as the Associate Dean, I can continue to do that. We can continue to grow and develop more opportunities for students to learn, particularly in experiential learning, really important, and to see the faculty have opportunities as well.
Yeah. So what inspired you to take on such a leadership role in shaping the future of business education? Do you have the power to do that now in this role?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Yeah, I'm teasing a little bit. I think that it is in this role at this moment, there is a lot of things happening in post-secondary education. And one of the critical pieces is understanding who Douglas College is and what it provides to its students. And I think that applied side, having the chance to engage and study in an experiential learning environment. And there's a lot of opportunities in there, from service learning to internships and co-ops. Then you know a little about that.
Yes.
We'll talk a little about that too. But I think right now there's a deep desire for students to have the chance to experience and experiment inside their education so that they're more job ready when they get there. That experiential learning piece is also, it's time. It's really well, it's the environment and the thinking inside the college and outside. People are looking for that opportunity. And I think also the team in the dean's
Yeah.
office, the dean himself, we're ready and poised to take advantage of that.
Yeah. How is Douglas College adapting its business and marketing programs, as you were saying, to keep up with the rapidly changing industry landscape?
It's fast, isn't it?
Yes.
I think there's a few different elements going on. Definitely, there's some work around always going on of evaluating the coursework that's being given and developed. So faculty are continuously bringing on new programs or updating the programs and the courses that we already have. So that's one piece, right, at that granular level of looking at our courses. There's also a lot of work done by our faculty working with outside associations. So looking to those partnerships so that students are able to either graduate with a credential or they've got the body of knowledge for that association, and with some work experience, they're eligible to write, a certification exam. So they are getting real world certifications. So a little bit during and then after. So you're talking about being connected to, marketing organizations, sales organizations, management organizations, specializing in things like project management to supply chain, and of course, accounting and finance have very well-defined pathways with external bodies. So those partnerships are important about keeping things up to date and challenge
Yes.
the programming. There's also an accreditation process. So the business degrees at Douglas College we're part of the ACBSP. So it's the Accreditation Council for Business School Programs. And this is an international body that has a set of rigorous standards that the programming has to go through. And we've just gone through our 10-year reaccreditation. And while an accreditation maybe doesn't mean much to, say, a high school student looking at the college, it is another way that we are comparing ourselves internationally, globally, to other business programs and saying, this is what we're doing, this is the research, we're updating, this is the quality of the programming, the instructor, this is, the percentage of, service learning or experiential learning that students get, this is the research, and so that's just a nice reputation builder. But, again, an opportunity for us to look at what we're doing and how we're staying up to date.
Yeah, that's great. And I have experienced how you are as a mentor and as an educator, and I truly appreciated the time when I had that internship with a marketing organization and where I really had that experiential learning, and I was also able to share what I know and apply it in the organization where I was being an intern, and I became the digital marketing manager for Markham Group of Artists. And it's such a great opportunity. But I was wondering, what are the top 3 skills that students must develop to be competitive in the marketing job market? Because it's one thing to have your foot in the door, another to thrive once you're there.
Well, I think that you were a perfect example of the type of skills that students need, because it's having that ability to be curious and to dive in to an organization. So, for example, if we can talk about Markham Group of Artists, well, I know you're a very skilled person, but do you consider yourself a professional painter?
No.
No, right? You have a lovely sense of design. You're creative in many ways, but here was a group of people who are very passionate, very skilled at physical painting of every genre of painting of pictures. And there you are coming in and going, all right, how am I going to help you market this? And so that deep dive of being curious, getting to know that customer group, getting to understand them and the folks who are buying. So the passion that the people have who are producing this amazing, amazing artists, they love their work. And then you came in and you were the transcriber, right? You did the translation from what they love, what they do, what their passion is, what their skills are, what they're best at, and then how to communicate that with a variety of audiences. And so that's that storytelling skill, right? So how are you going to take this is these folks with a passion And it's any company that has a product or service that they love, and they do want to find their group of folks and customers out there who want to buy it. But as the marketer, it's you went in, and it's our job as marketers to be that translator, to be that connector. So to connect the product and the service and its best qualities with the folks who need that problem solved, who want that extra. So I think those are two key things. So being curious, being that storyteller, and then the third part is just about being a little bit brave, but doing that because you have to try it, risk failing it, having a little fail, but also using our analytics, right? So using our numbers, having that discipline to go in and review and analyze what worked, what didn't, how do we improve? Because we've got to do it again.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, you just got to be brave and take risks, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work all the time, but it would really matter if you try and fail than not try at all.
Well, exactly. If you're
Yeah.
not trying, not risking, but also
Yes.
not gaining.
Yes. So, how can students and professionals bridge the gap between academic theories and real world marketing challenges?
Great question. I think that it is practice. So we have to take the ideas and the concepts and look at where they're put into practice and where they work, and maybe where they didn't. And so some of that is that case study approach, having a look at what others around us are doing, what are our industry leaders doing in any particular field, but also through the learning journey at school. I think it's important for students to again try to stretch themselves and practice. It could be something, as an assignment in the classroom. If you have an option to work with an outside organization so that you're actually working on a real live case study, the results matter a lot more. When you're working with someone's organization and their company, and maybe it's a solopreneur and they need that extra set of eyes and thinking and ideas and it really matters. It will make a difference. You might, as a student, volunteer with an organization. And again, nonprofits need to do marketing too, don't they?
Yes.
Um, and I do want to hear about your new world as well. Day 12.
Yes.
That
Thank you.
with that piece though of just absolutely getting as much experience as possible before we even set into that career, that first career entry role.
Yes.
It's really important to test it out and try it, because I have had many students who say, well, of course, social media posts 3 times a day, 7 days a week. You'll grow your following really quickly. It will, you'll have lots of content online, and that's how you make social media work for your business. And then you say, all right, can you come up with that content? Well, that's like 21 posts a week. Yeah, just for the one platform, right? Yeah. Okay. And don't forget, you've got to open the store and run it and do payroll and manage the employees, because sometimes, they leave for new adventures, they have sick days or accidents, and there's a delivery delay in the products. And so it's like
So much more.
so much. And so all of a sudden it's going, I can't do 21 posts a week as a solopreneur. And it's like, no. So what's realistic? What are we going to do? And we can't be on every platform, and we can't make videos every day. So now what? And I think that is the best learning process.
Yeah. Nowadays, we have ChatGPT, other a whole lot more of AI tools. How has digital transformation reshaped the way businesses approach marketing today? Is it easy, or is it more difficult, or just accessible? How has it changed?
Yes, yes, and yes. It is easier. It is more difficult, and that accessibility piece is fantastic. It's a great equalizer, particularly for smaller organizations, because you can use something like ChatGPT to help you come up with content relatively quickly. Well, not relatively, I mean, amazingly quickly. Right. However, it's more difficult or challenging because it's not an administrative assistant. It's not a social content creator with the same level of knowledge and experience as you or I or anyone in their business, knowing their industry, knowing their customers. And, we've seen that with some funny, but also some terrible mistakes.
Yeah.
Lots of cities advertise top 10 things to do in the city. And, ChatGPT can come up with that pretty fast. We can customize it for a city, but oops, one of the major Canadian cities, not Vancouver, but put out top 10 things to do. Number 3 on the list, a fabulous place to come and get amazing meal, get amazing food at a reasonable price. And it was their food bank. And they published that
No.
for everyone.
And they published it.
Yeah. So it's difficult because
Yes.
it still needs oversight by individuals and experienced individuals
Yes.
because somebody young may not, or may not understand what a food bank is.
Correct. Yeah.
Kind of a fun name, actually.
Yeah.
If you thought about a restaurant, you go to the right. Well,
Such a
food
big
bank.
blender. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it had all the characteristics because how is AI supposed to know that
Exactly.
when you
Yes.
can come here, we welcome people. There's food anytime you get here. There's little, the cost is very, little to nothing, etc. So I think that's the difficult part. The other piece is without some experience and knowledge, this the strategy piece, and being able to determine whether the output from AI is going to be effective for you, for your industry. If you don't have some experience with it and or understand what you're looking for,
Yeah.
then it won't be as helpful.
True. Yeah. How should marketers adapt?
They need to, we as marketers, we need to
Yes.
embrace it. We need to try it, right?
Yes.
And need to be open to change, be brave, but and also understand that each platform is different. So don't fall in love with one platform or one
Yeah.
method. We still need to use that combination of tools. And you can't sit still. There can't be any dust under anyone's shoes. Recently, I've seen a few examples of a direct mail piece, and that I just thought was a fantastic use of advertising because, of course, we don't get a lot in our mailboxes, our
Yeah.
physical mailboxes anymore. A small local company working in, like concrete, so fixing someone's driveways or sidewalks or things like that, home repair, not exactly a rock and roll sexy type of industry until the repair is serious maybe, but that's like a great example of you can call them up, you can put something on the website, you have to type in share your information, put in your
Yes.
name and address, and all of a sudden they're mailing out, here's our brochure, this is what we do, this is how it works, this is when you're going to want to use it, this is how you're going to evaluate us. And all of a sudden there's beautiful photos. It's building a relationship around trust. We know what to do, we know how to have the solutions, here's a couple of ways, we're reliable, we have testimonials. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing
Yeah.
for something that's, um, not an industry that necessarily in trades that they would market that way.
Yeah. Yeah. They yeah, they went the extra mile there.
Exactly.
Yes. Do you think marketers should always go the extra mile? And how can we maintain authenticity?
Should marketers always go the extra mile? Yes, when we can. Yes, when we can. If you can see it, go there. That authenticity piece, I think going the extra mile is part of that. And that's a big one. If we can unpack it a little bit, it's around building trust, being true to yourself, your brand, your company, your customer, right? So we're not everything for everyone. And I don't think we have to try. In fact, most companies, like our dear, dear Canadian department store, the Hudson's Bay, when you're trying to be too many things to too many people, you're not enough of any one thing
Yeah.
to any one of us. So understanding who you are and opportunity you're creating for your customers, your clients, your patients, whoever they are, the value you're creating, the opportunity you're giving them, the problem you're solving, however you like to frame your service or product. I think that it's important to remain true to that. And, we've got some amazing examples out there with our industry leaders. How about somebody like Patagonia?
Yeah.
Right? That outdoor company, outdoor
Correct.
gear, outdoor wear. And they put out ads that say, don't buy this jacket because if you don't need it, don't buy anything extra that creates waste and pollution for the planet, and we're in business to save the planet. Load it up with extras. And so we make, and they say we make high quality garments that, well, that's not how they phrase it. My apologies to Patagonia. But, in terms of saying, things that will last, we build them
Yes.
to the design to last. However, as a consumer, we know that that high quality good has a higher price. So it's not going to be available for everyone at
Yeah.
any particular time. But if you believe in those environmental values, want rugged outdoor gear, and that you appreciate that environmental pursuit, and you're willing to or able to pay for it in your budget, what a great fit.
Yes. Yeah. So you cannot try to be a product for everyone. There has to be just group of people, right? That's like it should be niche. The more focused, the more targeted, the better.
It is. And once you create that relationship, you might be able to build out from there, but understanding who you are selling to
Yeah.
and helping them solve their problems. So if you want to work with seniors, stay there, solve it. And perhaps you can move into something for children or teens. But if you come out with a product and you show that it works well for a senior, well, our teens are not going to be interested because they don't see themselves the same, right? So again, we can't do too much in those different realms. You're
Yeah.
quite right.
Yeah. Shannon, you mentioned earlier about social media, like how often we should post, like, just the presence of social media is undeniable. You're not existing if you're not in social media for most companies, right? But with increasing concerns about data privacy, how should marketers balance personalization with ethical consumer data practices, especially in social media?
Oh my goodness, this one is a challenge because managing data is getting more and more difficult because, its prevalence on the internet in general. And we as customers, we as consumers, we're getting a little impatient. We've all been trained by Amazon now that we can sign up for Amazon Prime and get it today or tomorrow
Yeah.
at the
For
latest.
free delivery.
Delivery. Exactly. And so that means that I want everything my way, my how, and my when. So to do that trade off, right? As the customer, I have to give them my name, my address, my billing information, my credit card information. And now to get that fast response, because I just want it now, I have to, I've given this away. And it might be just to Amazon, but probably it's not. Probably it's to a number of different sites. How is that being managed? And we don't ask enough questions as consumers. The box we check that says, "Did you read this?" Most of us, we don't.
Yeah.
And so I think the responsibility from marketers, from companies, is to continue to educate customers about what you are trading off here and understanding that full impact. But I think it's an uphill balance. So uphill challenge. So the balance for companies is again just to continually try to educate and remind that we're asking for this information and we do keep it, but everyone is going to be challenged with that. There are I think some new areas where we're looking at companies trying to localize and work on bring the service instead of everything happening on their website, bringing it to the customer, right? So there's some interesting work being done in that area of having the consumer information stay on my hard drive and just interact with your site. But where that's really new technology, it's fascinating. But where it's going, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. Sometimes it's scary, right? Like you're browsing something on the internet and then the next thing you'll know, your social media feed is full of what you've just recently browsed. Like the
Yes.
algorithm is scary. So, yeah. But let's now talk about leadership and career growth. What qualities define a great marketing leader in today's fast-changing business landscape?
Well, I think that it's being innovative and creative and looking for ways to continue the conversation with your customer, with your client in different ways. So understanding them where they are at. So which platform are they on? What programs are they engaging with? If we had to pick an online journal, an online news feed, is that where your customer is? So having a look at where they are with the media and reaching out to them on those particular places. So again, we're really innovating and customizing the messaging, of course, and reaching out and meeting them where they're at and meeting them where they're going. So partly, let's do our homework and our research and see where they're at and where they're going, what they're interested in, and meet them before they get there. They
Wow.
give out
Yeah.
before they even get there. It's a fabulous time to be a leader in a marketing arena. And as you say, some terrifying moments, perhaps, as we interface with the new technology. The opportunities it's creating
Yes.
are very exciting.
Yeah, it's how you use the tools and stay ahead, right? So, but what leadership lessons have you learned throughout your career in business and the academic industry?
Thank you. Great question. I think that consistently across that, whether it's marketing has changed a lot in the
Yeah.
time that I've been involved in teaching and working with it, and strategy remains a consistent process. So the tools might be changing, the products might be changing, the speed at which we have to develop a concept, may be changing because of the nature of the industry. Tools and it's easy to make things happen faster, but the core strategy pieces of, right, where do we want to go with this? What problem are we solving? Who is going to buy this? Remain consistent, right? So our 4 strategic questions: where are we now? Where do we want to go? How are we going to get there? And how will we know when we've arrived? How are we measuring our success? The other piece of that is it's so important to have a conversation with current customers and potential customers. So understanding what the client need is. We all know the story of building a better mousetrap, right? So if I build a better product or service, it's fabulous and it's good.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to run and buy it or not.
Yeah.
They don't always.
Yes.
And the challenge there is, yes, my service or my product is solving a better problem, is solving the problem better. I'm sorry. They're solving the problem better, but is it a big enough change in the solution to get current customers to act differently?
Yes.
It has to be giving more value than the current solution for me to change my behavior, because we know that for the most part, we don't like change.
Yeah.
And if I've got something that works, I'll stick with it until it's really not working. And so I think part of that, having that conversation, doing that market research, is a really important element. I actually love doing market research, and I've noticed this with my students consistently over the years, that when they go in and they have a product or service they're working with a company, and it's like, yes, I understand this. Yes, I like it. Yeah, I can market it. We can talk about it. And maybe this is a solution. Maybe this isn't. And they're there and they're keen and they've got their ideas and their theories and they're plunking it together just like the process says in the textbook. And then they go and talk to some folks who say, when I use this, it totally changed my world, because it really does take me from an okay solution to an amazing solution in a really quick time frame. And it's important. And then to get a few people say, I would never use that because it's not worth it to me. I pay $10 for the solution I have and it's clunky, and it's so paying $25 for this amazing solution, it is amazing, but $25 versus $10, I don't think I would. And so the student who's done the market research comes back and goes, I see the way. Oh my gosh, we have to, target these people with this problem. So we know we're going to take the the $25 solution. We're actually going to take it to parents of young children, because parents of young children are so short of time. This buys them back enough time that it's worth the $25. But the elderly retired person isn't worried about saving time. They're happy to save them dollars because that's important to them. So they're going to stay with that $10 solution that's on the market already. And when you talk to the customers, like, okay, now I really understand who you are, what you need. And actually, I know how to change my product or service a little bit more so that it meets your need better.
That's great. Research is a powerful tool and really helps you to get to know your customers better and how to attack the problem or provide the solution to your clients, right?
You're so right. You're so
Yes. Shannon, you're a great mentor. You're, I think, one of the most well-loved professors at Douglas College, and many of the students at Douglas consider you as a mentor. How do you think mentorship is important in shaping the future of students and even business and marketing leaders?
Oh, I think mentoring is it is, I want to say it's like the magic sauce to, to a delicious meal. It's the thing, it's the piece that pulls the learning together. There's many mentoring programs that are out there that people have tried to put together, and sometimes the secret sauce doesn't happen between every pairing, but it shows how important this is because we need the combination actually of, there's mentoring of somebody who's experienced in their industry, a little more seasoned in life, and they've got insights to share with someone who's young and keen and dynamic, but not sure of how to put all of the pieces together in the best way, how to step forward sometimes. Baby just needs a little bit of encouragement to step out, and certainly for women in business, right? Having the confidence to step forward and claim those spots is it's wonderful to have that mentor in the background for them. There's also the value of a little bit of reverse mentoring
Yeah.
for someone who is experienced and seasoned to hear about, kind of the new thoughts, the new insights, new methods that I think it helps grow in both sides of that. And of course,
Yeah.
the diversity is good for all of us in our thinking and challenges us to stay not only, keep up, but to be
Yeah.
innovative and creative.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to aspiring professionals who want to make an impact in marketing and business?
I would suggest stretching oneself, taking that little extra leap. And it might be just to reach out to someone on LinkedIn, messaging someone there whose position you admire, the work you admire, and just asking them about their path. It might be attending a networking event, which can be uncomfortable for all of us. Just remember to do our homework before we go. Figure out who's going to be in the room and reasons people are attending. So we have our little list of things to talk about when we meet strangers, because going to a networking event and staying with the people we know is much more comfortable, but it doesn't grow our relationships or our network. We
Yeah.
want those pieces for sure. So stretching ourselves in terms of that side. The other one is to keep learning. Lifelong learning has always been a value of mine and of many people, but in marketing in particular, things are changing so quickly. It's important to keep learning and understanding how it's changing, and again being able to look at new ways and use these amazing new tools. Artificial intelligence is making small tasks much easier, much faster. And of course, if I'm only able to do those small tasks, which are becoming, they're growing in their complexity, I can be replaced by AI. So I don't want to be replaced by AI. I want to continue to grow and use it as the tool, right? And
Yes.
so understanding what it can do means I have to play with it and experiment. So I would say, not don't fall in love with any particular one tool. Keep playing with things and developing skills that way for being a leader in that field.
Yeah, that's great. Stretch yourself, keep on learning, understanding not just the people, but the tools as well that you have at your disposal, because we wouldn't want to be replaced by AI, definitely. We will use them so that we can continue to thrive in what we do, and they will make it easier for us, faster for us, because we would always know better because of that human connection and human experience that we have that AI would never have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're so right.
Yeah.
That human connection piece. And I think too, for us as individuals and us as, as a society, as a community, we have to remember that that individual piece can't be replicated by AI, despite the 2013 movie whose name I've just forgotten, but where the fellow just starts dating the AI.
Oh, I should watch that movie. I haven't watched that. Finally, Shannon, what is one defining moment in your career that has shaped the way you approach marketing and leadership today?
Well, I think I can circle back to talk about some of those early positions I had in organizations and understanding that I could, if I could connect with other people, it changed the way things worked. Early consulting position I had, which the consulting work came from a student
Wow.
in industry, but it was having that moment of they needed a consultant to help them develop materials for a trade show. And it was in the cement and concrete industry. And kind of phoned me up and said, "So it's April 1st. There's a trade show April 23rd. We need a display stand and we need, the brochures and the handouts. And there's going to be, this many people projected to be coming. Do you think you could do that?" And I said, "Yes, I can do that." I didn't, but I
You
didn't know
said
how to,
yes.
I didn't know how to find us, but people build displays. Okay. We need a budget. We need, let's find out what works, what doesn't. What I did know is the messaging and the person, that I was working with in the organization really understood their business and their community well. That partnership, turned out to be a consulting client for many years. And in that moment, it was so taking the chance, saying yes, then figuring it out. And, in a short period of time, yes, long hours, but then creating a successful communication piece by, working with them and understanding their customer group and what they wanted. And that turned into a lot of community engagement discussions and conversations, working with them over the years. So I would say that really was early on, just that opportunity of here it is, and saying yes to it when it comes your way.
Wonderful. Yeah. Say yes when it comes your way. One last question, Shannon. What would you say to a person who wants to thrive in the industry today? If there's one thing that you can share with that person, what would that be?
I would encourage them to be who they are and dig into what they love and surround themselves with people who think like them and who don't think like them, so that they're pushing themselves forward. They're not being tested, but they have a place to test their ideas, not themselves as a person, but to be able to engage and move quickly to evaluate their ideas quickly, because in the field of marketing, it's so dynamic that there isn't always time to sit and rest on a concept or an idea. To really let it brew, you have to be able to beat it up a little bit, push it around, make sure it works, and then move forward.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much, Shannon. This has been a great conversation. I've learned a lot today, and I'm sure our audience would too, and they would appreciate your insights. So thank you so much for talking to me and for your time here on Life Expressions.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I wish you all the best in your audience. And thank you to your listening audience. And I hope they thrive as well as you.
Thank you so much. Keep on thriving and keep on inspiring, Shannon. And for our audience there, if you like this conversation, please feel free to share it with your friends or your network. Life Expressions is streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button so that you will be notified each time we have a new episode here on Life Expressions. Let's continue to create a positive impact wherever we are, in all the things that we do, however we can. I'm your host, Charie Ginete-Ilon, and once again, thanks to my guest, Shannon Cox. Till next time, here on Life Expressions.